Hold your governors responsible. Hold your governors responsible for the failure of your state. And why should I do that? For me, I don't blame any governor at all. No matter the state, I don't blame any governor for any failure to govern well. I don't blame them. Yes, I don't blame them. I get my reasons. Okay? And here is it. You said I should blame my governor for the insecurity of my state, right? Okay. The insecurity in my state. According to Nigerian Constitution, who have the sole rights or security? Is it the president or is it the governor? The answer is the president, right? Okay. So since the sole rights of security or authority over securities lies solely on the president. So how then do you blame the governors for insecurity of a certain state when the governor should only get approval from the president before any security operations in his or her state? What if there is a collision of interest? When I say collision of interest, let me clarify you on that. If there is a certain land, me and you, they fight for. They struggle, they fight each other for that land. They do many things. You get? And the person will decide who owns or who gets the ownership of the land lies solely on me. And me go decide person will go own the land where we fight for. Me and you they fight for. They keep person for. Yeah. So I want to ask you this simple question. Do you expect me to be fair? My judgment. Will I allocate the ownership of that land to you when I have the interest in that land? Answer. When the interest of the president and the governor is different, do you think the president would be fair in his judgment in the certain governor state? Do you think so? I don't think so. So I don't believe I could hold my governor for insecurity myself because it has no control over the state security apparatus. And again, the Constitution makes it clear that the governor doesn't or do not have the right to acquire sophisticated weapons for any security apparatus in his state, his or her state, yes. They can only acquire pump action with shotguns. That's only weapons the Constitution gave them to acquire those weapons. That's power to give them power to acquire. And the same weapon, the center should approve it too. Let it be clear. The center must approve it. Yes. So I don't blame my governor for insecurity in my state because he or she doesn't have the power to decide the fate of any security operations in our state, he must get his approval from the center, which is the president. And being straight, it must be the president that approve. So when the interest of the president and the governor differs, there will be unfairness in distribution of security services in this certain state, because the interest is different, okay? And secondly, we talk about the economy. For me, I don't see governors as the problem of any economy of their state. Why? Because governors have limited rights in their states. In fact, they don't have the vital rights that drives any state, any federal state in the federation. Those vital rights are rights, mining rights, and port rights. Those are two vital. Those are two vital elements or rights that create a viable economy. Yes. Yeah, most of you might be arguing, but does Europeans have resources like we do? No, they don't. That's why they travel abroad for exploitation. They went abroad, exploited the lower nation that they can defeat in battle, took their resources, and then developed their land. And now their people are rich. That's why they tax their people, because they know that their people are rich and they can afford the taxes. That's why their taxes are high. Okay? That's why their taxes are high, because they have exploited those lower nations, took their resources, built their land, then their people became rich, then they started taxing their people. Okay, they now rely on their taxes. That's why their taxes are rising every day, because those nations they're exploiting are now wiser and now stop, transporting their resources to them. Now they base their economy on taxes now. That's why their taxes are rising. But their people are affording it because they have invested in those critical areas that made their people to be rich. And now their people are rich. Now they can be able to tax them. But in our case, our people are poor. Try to know the difference. We never exploited any rich. Those resources that we have in our ground are the escape route we have to escape poverty in this nation. So we need to mine our resources, get our people to be rich, then we tax them. That's how a responsible government does. And the state doesn't have the power, like the center, to mine. Every mining activity in your state you see today, the state must get approval from the center. So tell me, when the interest of the president and the governor is different, do you think that there will be fairness? I don't think. If the president have interest, when president interest is different from the governor's interest, I'll say it again. The state will not get approved. It's simple as that. That's what we are having in this oil. Some states can mine their gold, but one state can mine their oil. That's the problem. And we need to fix that. That thing must stop. And if you don't fix that, then we are not ready to grow. We must fix this right of a thing, the port right and the mining rights, because it's affecting our state economies. We can't rely on tax because our people are poor. You don't tax poor people. You make people to be rich first, then you tax those rich people. That's how to start giving high taxes. In fact, Nigeria's tax shouldn't exceed 5%. Seriously, shouldn't exceed 5%, because we are a poor nation. We need people to come here and to invest. So our tax rate should be very low to attract many top, companies. And when those rights are given, the states can have resources to build so many roads, electricity. Even those electricity rights should be cut off from the center, because these are causing so much backwardness in our success to getting 24 hours electricity. It's getting out of hand, seriously. We need to address this. Those are the issues we must address if we want to have a viable state. I personally don't hold any grudges or never blame my governors for once. If you have a performing governor, kudos for that governor. Because that governor has every right to be corrupt. He has every right to be corrupt, but he chose to be good, right? Again, last but not the least, electoral system. Electoral system is another key component of our nation progress we need to fix. If we get a very accountable, very transparent electoral process, a reliable electoral process, non-faulty electoral process, non-glitchy electoral process, then the issue of bad governance will end, because people will have now power to elect and unerect or vote out whoever doesn't perform well. And even those constitutional flaws we are having, we can be able to vote in those people that will have the integrity, the impetus, the guts, the human spirit to address those flaws we have in our constitution. Because if that electoral process doesn't balance to it, those bad eggs in our society will keep on finding their way into the seat of power, and those flaws can never be addressed because it favors them. So when it favors them, they won't address it. Those flaws remains. So we have to fight to address those issues. If you don't address those issues, it will never go away. Thank you.